math manipulatives in your kitchen pantries, right? Things like dried beans, dried pasta, all of those could be great to support your students in using math manipulatives to do math homework at home. And then again, search for and discuss patterns that you notice, discuss how the math lives in your daily lives, and consider posting a problem of the week for your whole family to explore. So that's it. Hopefully I was within my 15 minutes. I know I spoke kind of fast, but if you have any questions, feel free to email me at my email there. There are links. Again, I'll just go back to this one page. Oops, sorry. Should have just X'd out of it. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. So there's links here if you find to some of the games that we had, or even the math scavenger hunts you can find here to share with families. Okay, so
and your PowerPoint, it's okay to drop in the share files?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do that so everybody can have a copy. Thank you so much for being here. We'll invite Beth again so she can play some games with us.
Yeah, I wanted to play games, but it's a little hard sometimes online.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
you
So again, all this will be in our share file. Can you type out your email in the group chat so we can have it too? And then without further ado, Dr. Mike, just to help you.
Yeah.
Over there.
Sure. Thanks, Christine. And thank you to Beth. I mean, I do have a slide in here to talk about the math nights. They were really, really a big hit. We had a great turnout at each of our events. The most recent one, I want to say we had upwards of 250 people there. And you know, if you notice in some of the pictures that were present, that cafeteria was packed. You know, with parents and their children. What was most exciting about it was that it wasn't one of these things where you just saw kids just running around the cafeteria. They were legitimately sitting, working on math problems in some way, shape, or form, playing some math games. You know, I participated here and there and, you know, watched some kids beat me at Mancala, which is a pretty cool game. And one that I didn't even think about, you can create with the egg cartons too at home and make a very easy way to do it. But thank you to Beth for the work that she continues to do to really build math in District 25. So, so thanks. And I will share my screen and go through my report as well. I do not have a lengthy one today, but want to make sure that you guys are up to speed on a few things that we do have going on in the district. Just starting with updates and reminders, summarizing application window has closed. So if you do hear from any of your families, you can let them know that that window has closed as of March 25th. Families will be notified that they have received access to a seat. You may wind up hearing some angst from some families expressing that they didn't get a seat. What happens next? There is a wait list, and they will be added to a wait list, and over time, as if seats are made available, they will be given access to them. But just making sure that everyone knows that if they did not get access to a seat initially, it doesn't mean that all things are lost, but there's no guarantee at that point that they will be given access to a seat. Testing reminders, we are right in the middle of ELA testing. Began last week, continues this week, especially for our schools that are implementing computer-based testing. There is a larger window for our schools to engage in these assessments with computer-based testing. So some of our schools are still in the process of doing that even this week. The paper and pencil testing window was April 11th and 12th. But we are off to a good start with the New York State test at this time. New York State math, grades 3 to 8, the testing window is May 7th and 8th. Again, computer-based testing gives us a larger window. So our kids will be taking that assessment May 7th and 8th, and then thereafter for a week thereafter. So ensuring that our schools are aware of the testing window, as I'm sure each of our elementary and middle schools are making our families aware. New York State science test, grades 5 and 8. That window will be May 15th through the 17th. Schools will select one administration date within that administration window to assess our kids. New York City Kids Rise, As I'm sure you guys have probably heard as presidents of President's Council, this is an opportunity for our kids in grades K through 2 to have access to a 529 direct plan. We do encourage our families to take advantage of this. It does create an initial savings account for our learners, and that will accrue interest over the course of time. It actually gives an opportunity for our parents to participate in this space where even fundraisers at the school can go to contributions to student accounts, which is something that you can help build, savings accounts for our kids for college over the course of time, which is a pretty exciting thing. We encourage our families to take advantage of it. Esther is here and has been working with our parent coordinators on this. We have 2 members from our team that actually were responsible for organizing the actual curriculum that connects with Kids Rise. So there's a lot of knowledge base around this program here in the district. So I encourage any families that are not sure about it, that have concerns about it, to please reach out and they will get feedback from our team. As I mentioned already, just big thanks to Principal Egan, DePolo, and Barisi for opening their doors to our Math Family Night events. We did have Councilmember Ung at our last one at PS20. We thank her always for her support and participation, but these were very well attended. And the goal is that these extend to our schools for them to do on their own. So we model an experience with the goal that all of our buildings take advantage of the opportunity to do something very similar in their schools. And I know that this has already picked up steam as some folks have already been contacting Beth for resources to conduct this on their own. Kindergarten IEP process. We might have shared this last time, but just to make sure that we reiterate that the recordings are available on our district page for any of our families with the Turning 5 process. That is a hot and heavy process right now as schools are engaging our school psychologists are engaging our families in this process right now. So it's important that our families are aware of what their rights are in this space. So if you do have families that are concerned, please point them in the direction of Nathan from our team, but also know that there are recordings available with these presentations accessible to them. This I want to show just because it's amazing. This is a student from IS-25 whose work is going to be displayed at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know about you, but each time I look at it, I am just in awe of what was created here by Valerie. Just an amazing, amazing, amazing piece of artwork that one of our youngsters was able to create. And, like her, we have a whole bunch of other kids that are just as able and talented to create such pieces of work. So we did want to make sure that we shared it with you because it's just unbelievable what she was able to do with this piece of work titled Vulnerable. So we're going to continue to encourage here, the arts across District 25. It's kind of one of my next layers of things that I am going to really be paying attention to. We've been really bolstering sports, obviously academics always. But my next layer of work will be around how do we continue to showcase some of the amazing artwork that's happening across our district as well. So big kudos to Valerie. It's amazing, amazing art. April, National Assistant Principals Week was April 1st to the 5th. So we included here just to make sure that we extend our thanks and appreciation for all of our APs. It's also Autism Awareness Month, making sure that we continue to share the importance of making sure that our families are aware that there are supports there and accessible for any of our families that do have children with autism. So that is a big shout out for autism awareness as well. As you guys know, the partial solar eclipse was something that was viewed. It was a big hot item on April 8th. You can see our team members did pop outside to get a view of it as well. And you can see me there with my glasses, taking it all in that afternoon. We know that our schools did as well. So we thank our teachers. We thank our building leaders for taking advantage of an experience that will not be accessible for a really long time. So having our kids experience what science has to offer, and we got our taste of it not only with the solar eclipse but with an earthquake. So we had lots of science talk going on over the past couple of weeks, and I'm hoping our kids were able to take a lot of that in this past month. Also, Minecraft Challenge. We have 5 of our schools that are in the semifinals of the New York City Public School Minecraft competition. So we have PS 21, 24, 79, 120, and 200. Really excited for them. On April 6th, they competed at Thomas Edison High School against the finest from Queens. We are so proud of all that participated. So we wish them luck as they move forward in this competition. District 25 had a cheer expo on April 9th. We did have a series of events this year with basketball, and we have our soccer teams and we have our volleyball teams. We wanted to create an opportunity for our cheer teams to also showcase their work. So I thank Beth for organizing this opportunity for our kids. It was a great experience for them. We thank our coaches and our families for participating and joining their cheer teams as they share what they're able to do. So big shout out to all of them for contributing and participating in this work. PS 193, big shout out to them for their opening ceremony for their outdoor classroom. The reason why this is highlighted is because the kids really participated with their school in using their participatory budget funds. So their funds and their outreach to their peers resulted in the development of an outdoor learning space where you notice that they have their tables and chairs set up. They have lounge chairs, all kinds of outdoor games and activities. And what I appreciate most about this is the community support that came from this. So parents, some of our dads contributed and had to take some of their engineering skills to make sure that those tables were securely fastened to the ground. As when it was originally purchased, that was not part of the conversation, and realized that it could become a problem on the grass there. So they created fixtures in the ground to support those tables and umbrellas, so they can last longer than just a few minutes in the grassy area. So we do thank our families for participating, and really encourage our schools to think about how we make authentic learning experiences for our kids with using funds in a purposeful way. So this was one. We had our ribbon cutting ceremony just the other day. And it was a well-attended event for our families and kids to participate in. So I thank Principal Zabrowski and our students, most importantly, for organizing this activity. District Lacrosse Clinic this past Saturday, in the event that you didn't know, City Lax is now partnered with District 25. So we have lacrosse is hopefully going to become a budding sport for our schools across the district. This includes an actual lacrosse league where our middle schools will be able to compete against one another and learn this really amazing game. So we're really excited about this partnership. I was able to get out there with a lacrosse stick myself. I haven't played in a really long time, but it was a lot of fun to be out there with our kids and our families as they learn the basics of lacrosse. Just really quickly too, parent survey we did send out, and Lewis was kind enough to send out via our notification system, just a parent survey to gather some information. What I do want to share with you briefly is just some of the results. I don't necessarily need to go over the graphs. I'll give you the data in just a moment, but they are here for you to see the 8 major questions that we asked. And basically, here are some of the initial findings. We had 1,200 people complete the survey thus far, and this is our own one, not the city one. We do encourage all families to complete the city one as well. But we had 85% of families indicated that they're comfortable engaging with their school. 85% of families indicated that that they receive updates on their child's progress. 89% indicated that the school has communicated with them regarding the importance of attendance. 92% of parents feel that their school communicates with them via phone, email, and so on. A couple of these things that I want to point out because it's important. Only 60+% of families indicated that they have had the opportunity to learn about HMH. 60% of families indicated that they had an opportunity to learn about MindUp. And 55% of families indicate that they have attended a general meeting, either virtually or in person. And when you look at these, we don't have a huge percentage of families saying that they disagree, but we have a lot of families say that they neither agree or disagree, which means to me that either it was shared and they don't know about it, or they just didn't hear about it, which raises just some general questions for us and the team to make sure that we're doing enough to get the message out for our families. Because even amongst similar schools, the same school, we had families say that yes, they agree, and in the same school, families that say that they have not been given access to it. So that calls to me in terms of messaging, things that we need to continue to grow in as a district. And I encourage all of our families, especially you on this call, to share some of your feedback with us around how we can do better in this area, because it's important that we connect with you as much as possible. So part of this work is also around parent engagement subcommittees. So we've developed 2 district leadership team subcommittees, one around making sure that our parents have access to information in a language that supports their needs. But the other is also around creating relational opportunities for families in terms of the learning opportunities they connect with schools. So coming to a workshop is not the same as coming to a math family night event. So those are the types of experiences that we want to build. Scenarios where they're able to come and visit classrooms, see what's happening in the classroom, and then also experience some learning at the same time. So we want to really bolster that relational support for our families as we go through the remainder of this year, but in terms of planning into next. So part of that's going to be around gathering feedback from all of our schools, including our presidents and president's council. What are the most successful ways that you've been able to connect with families? And how do we make sure we're replicating them across all of our buildings? So you're going to get some of that fact finding from Esther and Jenny, as well as the rest of our team, just to gather some of that input from you. What have been some of the most successful events that we've put on, and how do we make sure that we do them more routinely for our families to participate in? And the last thing that I want to share with you today is just around SEL data. So our district did engage our students in an SEL survey. We had over 13,000 kids complete the survey. And here are just a couple of things that were highlighted that I want you guys to see, because it's something we're going to continue to work on as a district. So this one where I'm able to calm myself down when I get upset or angry, you'll notice that 22% of that 13,000 indicated that it's very difficult or difficult for them to do. When you look here, I can continue, and just underneath the self-awareness average, I can continue with the task even when I feel frustrated. 18%, you'll see the one that's highlighted in red and orange, 18% of kids said it's very difficult or difficult for them to manage themselves when they feel frustrated in a task. Another one, I am able to be patient even when I'm really excited. 16% of kids indicated that that's difficult for them to do. And lastly, I feel like I'm prepared for tests. 16% of kids said that's very difficult for them to feel like they're prepared. So these are areas that we're going to continue to work on, and things that we've been doing in our schools that need that added emphasis even at home are those use of those brain breaks. Are we taking advantage of them? Do the kids really realize how they help support them get more grounded when things are tough? Because what we do know is when we are upset, even as adults, our brains aren't functioning the same way. And the same thing is happening for our kids when it's a moment of struggle. If they can't bring themselves back, it's hard for them to learn at any given moment or complete a task really well at any given time when they are feeling those layers of stress. So our schools are going to continue to work on that. We're going to continue to offer opportunities for our parents as well. You'll notice that some of our schools are doing wellness type nights. We want to continue to foster that experience for our families so that they know what we can do as parents when our kids experience circumstances where they feel like they are struggling or they are frustrated. How do we handle that as learners? But just as important, how do we handle that as parents when we see our kids are frustrated? So we're going to continue to build on that as a district moving forward using this data. Okay, and that concludes my report. But does anyone have any questions for me about those two things, those two pieces of data that I shared?
No, it looks like you answered everybody's questions. Just by your
So all
presentation.
of this data will be here for you guys, and I do encourage you guys to parents to let us know what are those ways that you feel are we best connect with you as parents. We have our own spaces of what we believe are best. But if you think that there are others that we should include in there that work for you as presidents of President's Council, please share them. And we want to share it widely in terms of like a one-pager for our district schools to pay attention to as they're organizing their parent engagement plans. But other than that, I hope everyone has an amazing night, and I will be listening in as the rest of the evening goes on.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Mike. All right, if there's no more questions, then we have Esther. Esther, you have the floor next.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when you guys could see it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is, again, Rachel was going to do this presentation. I'll go ahead and jump in and cover for her today. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. Our big PAPTA events that are coming up are your end of the year elections. A lot of schools, I already had 3 schools that had their elections. They're getting ready, and a lot of schools are having their elections in May. Want to just reiterate to you that the parent coordinator is there to help you out, as so is the staff, to make sure that your elections go as smoothly as possible. In the event that you might need help or need clarification on anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to President's Council, as Rachel, the team, Christine, and everybody, the President's Council board, and myself will do everything to either assist you, attend, or help you run your meeting should you need assistance. This is just a quick overview, just what your nominating committee should be doing. So at the end of the school year, you're targeting or you're looking for people that are going to graduate. So if Lewis is graduating out, he's a 5th grader, and he's no longer, or an 8th grader, and he's no longer going to be able to run for the following year, you might want to ask that person to run your elections. That person then goes ahead to make sure that there's a flyer, an invitation, and to all the parents, letting them know this is the date that we're having the election. But remember, you have a principal, so you want to run the date by the principal to make sure that staff is available to be there just to go ahead and assist you. So this is what the, your PowerPoint might look like. So let me see if I could go ahead and, okay. And this is during the meeting. So before the meeting, you're going to need a lot of preparation. You need to send out a flyer letting them know when your event is going to take place, when the election is going to take place, and what positions are you going to go ahead and have. So remember that you have your 3 mandatory positions, which is president or co-president, recording secretary or co-recording secretaries, and treasurer or co-treasurers. Now, how do you know what your school has? You have to look at your bylaws. If it just says president, treasurer, and recording secretary, you can't have any co's. But if you have president and or co-presidents, then you can have either or. Let me give you an example. If your school says you could have co-presidents, say Christine is running by herself, but I want to run, so then I would ask Angie to run with me, and Angie and I could run as co's, and Christine could run as one. So in those schools that have president or co-presidents, both people could go ahead and run. You cannot run solo. Christine is running for president, and then I say, I, Esther, want to run for co, but I'm going to find out because I don't have anybody yet. I'm just going to, if I win, no, you have to have your partner with you to go ahead and run together. So it'll be Esther and Angie together as one slate, and Christine. That's how you go ahead and, now another question that pops up a lot is, say Esther, myself, I'm running, but I can't make it to your election meeting because I have to work. I could go ahead, still run for the position, and I would leave a little 3-minute introduction of myself. But the problem with that is that I don't get to vote for myself. But it is allowed. The nominating committee, the nominating chair would say, I have Esther Maludo who's running. She couldn't be here today, but she wanted me to read this. And so that person reads whatever the candidate that's absent to kind of introduce them. And then that person could go ahead and run. They do not need to be present at your election night to be able to run. One more thing, what makes a person eligible for running for PAPTA positions is that they have to be a parent of a student in the school, a parent of a student in the school, or a guardian. Now, we have a lot of grandmas and grandpas that take care of our kids, and that is a blessing. But those grandpas and grandmas cannot run for a position because they're not the guardian. They're the ones that might take care and might go to all the meetings and might be there for everything, but they're not eligible to run for a position. It has to be the person that is a guardian of the student. Okay, so this is what your elections. Remember, your elections are either going to be all in person or online, no in between. You cannot have half in person and half online. That meeting, you have to decide if it's going to be all online or all in person. So let me give you an example. For President's Council, we have been having our meetings online. Our elections are coming up, and our elections for President's Council will be hosted on June 10th. Allowing all our schools to already have selected their PAPTA board members, because remember, the president of each school gets invited to come to President's Council on June 10th and cast their vote for the incoming new president for President's Council and the new board. We can have our existing board run again, but we need all the presidents from all the schools to attend that meeting on June 10th here so we can have a successful election and our district could be in compliance. Now, we do have a quorum. Make sure you know what your school quorum is. Our President's Council quorum is 8. As long as we have 8 people, we could have an election. But it's always nice to have as many people come and be part of the elections for President's Council. So this is what it will look like. Thank you for joining our PS 2000 election night. Upon entering, please mute your microphone. Make sure you know your microphone is off, and we appreciate your patience and cooperation. At this time, you're usually giving codes to the parents so that they could go ahead and vote. This is what an agenda should look like. You're going to give the welcome. You're going to proceed to do the election meeting. Elect your PAPTA executive board as it says by your bylaws. Now, a lot of schools might have chairperson for hospitality, chairperson for membership, chairperson for fundraising, chairperson for 5th grade teachers, 3rd grade this, second, and that's fine. But the ones that you have to really concentrate on your core members, which is the president and or co's, secretary, recording secretary and or co's, and treasurer and or co's. Okay, then after that, immediately following your PAPTA elections will be your SLT, and then your PAC if you're a Title I, and then you do this election summary, and then the meeting will be adjourned. And then you really want to reiterate the norms or to make sure that before the meeting starts, you ask everybody to please mute themselves. And remember that this is a public meeting, so all meetings should be recorded. All PAPTA election meetings should be recorded. Why? Because then it goes ahead and has proof to what happened should anybody grieve the election. Your election chair and the note taker will run the elections. And you fill the positions that are available at your school. And these are the duties of the president. I'm not going to go ahead and read everything, but it's always nice to go ahead and list the duties of the president, the recording secretary, and the treasurer. And I'll go ahead and I will share this PowerPoint with you guys, and it'll be in the share folder so that you could have access. So this is some of the some of the duties that the president should do. And some schools go ahead and list everything, you know, they should be present at all the meetings of the association, you know, and they go ahead and read everything, but I'm just gonna go leave it here at a glance for you guys. I also have it in Spanish. Should anybody need this in Spanish, I have that, and we're working on getting it in Chinese and other languages. This was shared from my friend Nancy in District 4. This is a recording secretary's duties. And again, I'm not going to read all of them. You could go ahead and take a screenshot, but know that this will be a shared document in the share folder today. And again, this is in Spanish. Should your schools need this in Spanish, we have it in Spanish. This is a treasurer's duty, and it lists all the, you know, treasurer's duty that they do. And you might add some more stuff to your school, or you might delete some stuff. It doesn't have to be, this is just an idea so that you could share at your school. Again, this is in Spanish. Now, once you go ahead, let me go ahead and tell you really quick. So then I'll go ahead and just finish this. After you finish your PA-PTA elections, you go ahead and start your SLT elections. You should be informed by the principal how many seats you have available. Remember, PA-PTA seats are for 1 year. The term is 1 year. Nothing changes on the PA-PTA. It's 1 year from September to June. September to June, but we have the elections before, so that you know. For your SLT terms, that depends on the SLT bylaws. You can have 1 year or 2 years. It is very important that you find out what is the term limit on your SLT at your school. Remember that all schools could be different. Most schools have 2 years. That way they don't have to have a yearly election. And so they know, okay, Christine is graduating out. So she has a seat of 2 years. She has concluded her 2 years. So now we have 1 seat available for 2 years. It could also be this way where Annie has a 2-year seat, but she's leaving. She moved, she won the lottery and she's moving. So she is leaving with 1 seat. So we have to find 1 person to fill that 1-year seat. So it's very important that you are very clear on the term limits of seats. Sometimes you'll be at an election and there'll be 3 seats for 2 years and 1 for 1 year, and that's the reason. Okay? So after that, you will have your SLT election, your SLT elections. And then this is just the responsibilities. And then if you're a Title I, you have to have your PAC elections. And your Title I is looking for a chair, alternate chair, and a secretary. And that's in Spanish. And once let's go back to the PA-PTA. When you go ahead, let's just say we're having the PA-PTA elections and I open the floor for nominations and I say, hi, I'm Esther Maludo. I'm the chairperson. I'm the nominating chair for today's election at PS 3000. Today, we're going to have an election for president, treasurer, and recording secretary. I would like to open the floor for nominations for president. Anybody? Okay, Christine, thank you very much. Okay. Angela, thank you so much. And let me see another name that I see. Lauren, thank you so much for running. So now you have going once, going twice, going 3 times. You have to make sure that you call it out 3 times. Anybody else? Anybody else interested? Once you don't have anybody else and you do have 3 candidates, you go ahead and say at this time, the position for president at PS 2000 is now closed. Now I would like to call each candidate to set a statement about themselves. Make sure that you set the time. You know, don't just let them talk. Make sure you're very clear that you're speaking for 2 minutes. Because one person could go ahead and talk for 5 minutes and the other one would just take 2. So you want to be really clear that you specify how many minutes. You let each person introduce themselves. And then after the candidates have spoken, we will proceed to vote via electronically And so you could do a Google form. There's different ways that you could go ahead and do that. And so that's how pretty much once that is done, you go ahead to the next position, which would be, recording secretary and then treasurer, and you go ahead and do it once, twice, 3 times. Sometimes you would just have one person. So say I'm doing the elections for recording secretary. Nobody's volunteering. Nobody's doing, they're thinking about it. So you're over here pleading and begging and please somebody. So all of a sudden, Nicole from 193 says, okay, I'll do it. And you're happy and you're like, thank you so much. Anybody else? Well, nobody else is going to come up because Nicole was gracious to, help us out so we could be in compliance. So now you close it. Thank you so much. Now going once, going twice, going 3 times, the position's not closed. We have Nicole. Now, we don't have to vote for Nicole because Nicole's the only one running, but we have to make it legit. We have to make it, we have to follow the guidelines. So what is that? What do we do? Somebody needs to cast a vote for Nicole so that she could be the recording secretary of PS 2000. So it would look something like this. Can anybody cast a vote for Nicole? And somebody will raise their hand. And then you say something along the line. I, Esther Maluto, cast a vote for Nicole and then her last name to be the recording secretary of PS 2000 for the school year 24-25. And then who seconds that? Okay, Christine seconds that. Thank you very much. And why do you repeat everything? So everything could be recorded and in the minutes. And then all those in favor, say aye, and you just raise your hand and you make sure that the note taker counts how many people, said aye for Nicole. And that's it. So that's pretty much, let me see how come it's not going. And that's it. And then you just recap at the end your elections. Thank you everybody for being here. I just want to go ahead and congratulate the PAPTA, and you say the names: president, recording secretary, treasurer, the SLT chair. Thank you. So the SLT members and the PAC. Thank you so much. Welcome to the school year, blah, blah, blah. You make sure that the election certification form is, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. The election certification form is filled out so that we can have that information, and that information that gets entered into the SPLCI, which is a student portal, which then will click your school that it is in compliance and you have a functioning or a running PAPTA. And that's it. Any questions? Any things you guys,
So I see Annie asked if it will be on the PDF or will it be on a workable file, the information that you just had, PowerPoint.
it's PDF to us, but I could try to see if I could get the on PDF, okay?
Welcome.
I
That
know
was a
that
lot of
Luis is a
information. It was
guru
good
and he
information.
could probably change it, but I'll double check with him tomorrow. But this, I believe it was shared on PDF to us.
Esther, quick question.
Yes.
I have somebody running my elections tomorrow for me since I'm running for re-election.
Okay.
Once we've finished with the PTA elections, am I allowed to host the SLT election?
You could do that if you want. You could definitely, once you're elected as president and they finish the PAPTA portion, you could definitely do the SLT and the PAC.
Perfect. Thank you.
Huh? I also want to reiterate some information or just remind you guys, remember that if you are the president of your PAPTA, you are automatically slated to sit on the SLT. No ands, if, or but. If you are the president of the PAPTA and you are if you won, you will automatically sit on the SLT. The other person that automatically sits on the SLT is also your PAC chairperson. They should have a seat at the table too. Any other seat should be elected. We've had a lot of situations where we have a person that's on the SLT and then runs for president and they win. So they automatically still stay in there and finish their term. But remember, the PAPTA term is only for 1 year. So you only sit on the SLT for 1 year. Those seats are for 1 year. Mandated seats for parent portion of the side is for 1 year. You should know that your SLT, it has to be even amount of parents and even amount of staff. So mandated seats are your principal, your PAPTA chairperson, your UFT chairperson, and your PAC chairperson. So those 4 seats are already taken. Then anything else will be election. The UFT will go ahead and have the elections for the teachers. They do that on their own. And the PAPTA, I mean, the SLT seats that are remaining are done at a PAPTA meeting. That's it. There's a lot of questions that come. I'm trying to remember what else comes through the pipeline. Oh, there's another one that always comes. Can mom and dad vote? Yes. Remember that both mom and dad are part of the PAPTA. If you have a kid at the school, both mom and dad can vote. Now, if mom and dad are divorced, mom and dad remarried, guess what? All 4 can vote. All 4 of the parents can vote.
Awesome, thank you. Are there any other questions?
Wait, I thought I had a private. No, that's not it.
No.
Other than that, I want to wish all of you much success in your incoming elections. Thank you for all your work and all your dedication and running. Thank you, Annie, for running again. We really appreciate it. For all of you that are running again, we totally, here at the district office, we can't thank you enough for showing up and being here and being, making your school a success, because without the PAPTA, there's a lot of awesome things that you guys do for the schools. And we really, really, I know Dr. Mike, my colleague Louis and Jenny, we really appreciate it. And thank you for running again, for all of those who, are running. And I don't know, I keep asking my board if they're going to run, and they keep like, So I'm hoping my board here at President's Council gets to run again. They have to be elected after school before they could run here. But in that event, if any of you are thinking or wanna dive into being part of the President's Council, you're more than welcome to run here at President's Council for a position. But the thing is that you have to be elected at your school. Now, let's just say I was elected at PS 2000 for president, but I work and I cannot come to President's Council. So if they're in a situation where there's co's. So Louis and I are co's. We have a discussion. Louis decides he wants to sit on the SLT. So he's going to go to SLT, and I decide I'm going to be the rep for my school and come to President's Council. That's how it is. If you're just one president, if you're just one person that won, you're going to go sit on the SLT and you're going to come to President's Council. But say I just won, I can't come. I have so many things. I'm SLT. I'm now the PAPTA president, and I can't come. That's the only day that I work on Mondays, and I can't make it. I and the PAPTA can choose to have a designee, and that you will go ahead and say, due to my work commitment, I cannot make President's Council meetings that are held every Monday. I'm looking for a designee. So somebody might come up and say, Josephine might say, you know what? I'll do it, Esther. I want to learn. I want to go to President's Council. Then Esther will go ahead and fill out the form and put the designee to be Josephine to go ahead and be the designee for our school, PS 2000. And then Josephine could go ahead and come here. Now, remember that all meetings are open. So if you want to bring the rest of your team, you're more than welcome to bring the rest of your team to the meetings. It's an open meeting. You get to hear the superintendent's report. You get to hear the guest speakers. You get to hear Louis sometimes teaches some of his knowledge on when it comes to social media. You get to hear my big mouth. You get to hear everybody. And it's okay to invite the rest of your PAPTA. It's an open meeting. The only thing is if we were to have a vote, only one of you would vote. So I see a few people from 193. So only one person can vote from 193, but everybody's invited to come to these meetings. So, and we would like you to invite all your new board to attend the June 10th meeting. Only the president will get a code and they would get to vote. Other than that, if you don't have any more questions, that's it for me.
Awesome. 7:33. Does anybody else have any questions? Great. 7:33, and I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you for
I'm
coming,
sorry, I
guys.
have to wait till 8, so we have to keep it going.
Oh, we have to wait till
No,
8?
just joking.
Oh my God, I was like, we missed out on the April Fools. You're adding it in now.
All right, that.
All right. Awesome. Remember, all of this stuff is also on our shared folder on the website. So if you think that there was something that you wanted to go back to, please go back to the shared folder.
And
Right?
also, if you guys have questions, let us know. Sometimes we don't know the answers and we got to chase face. And, you know, they're like going around, like going to different meetings themselves. So we try to get the answer to the best that we can to your situations at your school. But other than that, I wish all of you a successful election and that you meet, you know, that you're in compliance by the end of the school year.
Yeah,
That's it.
thank you, so much, everyone. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. 7:35, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Bye,
night.
Lauren. Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Good seeing everybody. Bye, Lawrence. Great to see
Bye-bye.
you.
All right. Any more questions, anybody? So I could go ahead and stop the recording now. I can't believe I forgot to record.
That work?